What is going on, everybody? My name is Legion, and welcome to my episode 3 of my Alaska Tundra Wolves Dynasty on NCAA 14. Today is my favorite day of the year because we get to go over our recruiting class and recruiting board so far in the year. It's only week 1, so a lot of these guys are going to be showing a lot of interest in Alaska, but these are all low lock percentage guys that I kind of hope we can get. Last season's class was really successful as we ranked out pretty well as opposed to what I was expecting us to rank out as, and we actually had a pretty good core of players come in last year. And really looking at our school, we're not going to be able to encourage a lot of guys to come in, but I feel like I'm good enough at recruiting to the point where we can find some prospects that not a lot of guys are going after and be able to use. As you can see, our championship contender grade in one class has gone all the way up to 43 from 126. So that's pretty awesome, and I hope that this class can bring it up even further. So last class was really important, but I feel like this class overall is going to be the class that makes or breaks this series, as this is going to be like our national championship core. We have 4 years of quarterback William Baker here, and I don't believe in redshirting anybody. I feel like that kind of takes away the challenge of the rebuild, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm also not going to go after any 4 or 5 star guys, only 3 stars, and particularly lower rated 3 stars. There are some guys that if you go into the recruiting services, like I'll show you an example right now. As you can see, this is kind of what I'm talking about here. When you go into like quarterback or something, the number 14 guy in the country is already a 71 overall, so I don't really want to go after these type of guys. I'm looking for more like, the 45th ranked prospect or whatever, where, go down to 45. Oh, it's a 67 overall. See, that's a little bit more manageable and more realistic to get if you're a school like Alaska who hasn't won a game in their 1 season existing yet. So now I'll finally show you guys my board, and right off the bat, I have all these guys in order of the position that they are going to play for me, ideally, if we do get them. And we're going to start off at the top here with 6 foot, 200-pound athlete from Texas, number 52 athlete in the nation. This is Keith Ryan. The thing about Ryan is that he's going to be a quarterback for us. Ignore everything else. He's going to be a backup quarterback for the next 4 years, develop into something nice. It says he's a 69 overall, but I think he's a lot better than that. I think his 69 overall is coming because the game's projecting him at a different position, maybe corner, I think. Or running back is the position that he's being projected at. But anyways, I know that he's going to be a 75-ish overall quarterback because of his throw power and speed. His accuracy obviously needs some work, but he's a project, and he definitely fits the scheme that we want to run going forward. We might be able to use him in some packages too, because we're not going to redshirt him, and maybe run a little bit of option with them, even though we have a really, really nice mobile quarterback already. The next guy up is only 1 pound heavier, and it's going to be Jamie Tucker from Pennsylvania, the number 48th ranked quarterback. He is a true quarterback, not an athlete. And as you can see, he is a +8 gem. So one of those guys that I was talking about, one of those lower caliber 3-star players that kind of flies under the radar. He has a strong arm, not as strong as Ryan, as you can see, and he's not quite as fast, but he has way better accuracy at this point. But accuracy in this game is very easily developable. So Keith Ryan is the number 1 quarterback on my board, and I'm going to start pursuing him as soon as I get some points back because I spent a lot in scouting. Next up, we have more of a change of pace running back to the guy we already have, who's more of a power running back, and that is Jason Conley, 5'11", 177. He is good at a lot of things. He can also return kicks. As you can see, he's very fast, very elusive, and he has a good juke move. Needs a little time to work on his carrying and his vision to get up and overall a little bit, but he can also be used as a 3rd down running back coming out of the backfield. So Jason Conley, one of my top targets, one of the guys I'm really going to pursue heavily. As you can see, we are number 8 ranked for him, pursuing Vanderbilt right now. Another guy who's favoring Vanderbilt is Kyle Jones, a 5'10", 208-pound balanced running back here. As you can see, he's a little bit more balanced, a little slower than Conley, and not quite as good out of the backfield, but he's still very, very good nonetheless. Has a nice arsenal of moves to work with, and as you can see, he's a little bit more polished in terms of his carrying and his vision. He is a +8 gem, a guy that I would be fine getting, and we are going to go after 2 running backs, so ideally I get both of these guys. Another guy we're going after here is Chauncey Jones, a number 58 ranked athlete from Texas. He is 6'1", 227 pounds. He will play wide receiver for us. As you can see, he is a very polished route runner, and I think that he just has a skill set that is very, very completable. He doesn't really lack in anything. He has good hands, good at catching the ball in traffic, has a good release. He needs to work on his acceleration and agility a little more, but I think that in a few years he's going to be a solid option on the outside. Next up, we have more of a speed guy here from Hazelwood, Oregon, in Lewis Golden, 6'1", 190. Very similar to Will Golden as a player, actually, from my Syracuse Dynasty, which you should watch, by the way, if you have not yet. A great series. At the time of recording this, I am recorded through Season 3, and it is an absolute blast, so go check that out if you get a chance. Anyways, number 58 ranked wide receiver. He is very, very fast, just like Will Golden is, and is a good route runner. His release needs a little bit of work, and his hands as well, but I think he's pretty polished and should be a good option here if we do get him. Not a lot of moves after the catch, though. Next up, we kind of have a security blanket in case we don't get Golden, Jones, or Campbell, who we're about to talk to, and that is Travis Campbell from Plano, Texas, number 64 ranked wide receiver, 5'10", and he is pretty athletic, and he's a good route runner, but his hands and release and catch and traffic kind of need some work. He'd kind of have to sit a year and develop, without a red shirt, of course, just kind of a dead year to work on his technique and stuff and get a year or two of training results to come in and help him out. Good player nonetheless, wouldn't mind having him on the team at all. Next up, we have a JUCO junior, and this is Albert Campbell. I don't like to go after JUCOs when I'm trying to, build a team from scratch all the time. But Albert Campbell here from Churchill, Tennessee, the number 101 ranked wide receiver. The number 101 ranked wide receiver from Churchill, Tennessee, Albert Campbell. I don't usually like to go after JUCOs here, but this guy's an exception. He is very, very polished, and you're about to see that in a second. Very fast and elite deep threat, but also runs routes very well and has great hands and great release. Why would I not go after this guy? He also has a bit of a juke move, but still not anything great after the catch. Next up, we have Tyler McIntyre, who is 6'5", 239, a bit of a sleeper as the number 45 ranked tight end in the country, and he is a +6 gem. Got another gem. He is pretty athletic, a decent blocker, and also a decent receiver, so a pretty well-balanced player. The thing I like the most about McIntyre is probably his 75 ranked catch and traffic. Really good player nonetheless, though, and surprisingly decent in kick return. Next up is Ryan Graham, 6'6", 257, a bigger guy from Florida. We're trying to bring him all the way to the tundra of Alaska from humid Florida. But anyways, he is a very good athlete and a very good receiver. Not a good blocker, though, but with his size at 6'6", 257, we want him to be a vertical threat, especially with that athleticism. Really, really like Ryan Graham and thinking he'd be a great deep threat for us. We are going to try to get both of these guys, although I cannot promise anything because tight ends are highly sought after in this game, but we're going to try to get at least one of them. Really hoping for one of these guys. Next up, I want to get 5 offensive linemen this year, and here are 3 of them. 2 of them are further down the board for some reason, but we have Tyler Falk, who is 6'4", 291, found all these guys using the squat method. He is a great pass blocker. He has really good strength for an offensive lineman who's a 3-star. Not really a weakness in his game, very developable, and I think he could really start at left tackle for years to come. Next up is Stephen Hobbs, who is a run blocker from Ohio, so got to get a guy for the right side there. Very, very strong and a decent run blocker. His impact block is his best strength, but look at that, 98 acceleration, super athletic. This is a guy that we could also put inside, and he could be very effective there as well because of his good strength and acceleration. Next up is a 2-star sleeper. Yes, this guy is a 2-star, and at 6'7", 270, I'd actually like to slide this guy outside to play tackle, but Jeremy Hines is very strong and a very good pass blocker. So another guy that can play either guard or tackle, so really versatile option, and he is a +11 gem. That is awesome. Next up, we have Kerry Brown, who is the number 46 ranked defensive end from Florida. Another Florida guy we are bringing up to the tundra of Alaska. Really, really awesome size at 6'6", 265. That's the thing that stands out the most, but in terms of skill, looking at it, he is very, very athletic, and he doesn't really have a pure pass rusher move yet. His power move's getting there. Needs a little bit of time to develop, but this is a big body that you can just stick in there. He's going to be very, very good at both rushing the passer and stopping the run with that frame too. Very excited about Kerry Brown if we can get him. Next, we have kind of a one-trick pony, kind of a Robert Washington from Syracuse type of deal. 6'4", 227, a similar frame. And as the number 108th ranked defensive end, Harvey Wyatt is a pure pass rusher from South Carolina. He has great athleticism, obviously, but like Brown, he doesn't really have that pure pass rush move. Also a guy we need to develop, but definitely a situational third down rusher in nickel and dime packages. Awesome player. And Daryl Flynn is kind of just a security blanket, a little bit less athletic, and kind of has the combination of their frames here, which is very interesting. Pure pass rusher, nothing much to say. Just a guy who we can put points into if we don't get these guys. Next up is one of my favorite prospects on the board, and that's defensive tackle Lamar Miller, who can definitely penetrate from the middle. 5'11", 278, not the biggest frame in the world, but what you'll see about him is he is both athletic and strong, and he can really, really move. This is the guy who's going to develop into an elite run defender, but right now he has a very, very good floor as a great pass rusher on third downs. Really, really excited about this guy. Hopefully we can get him. He flew under the radar as the number 32 ranked defensive tackle in the country, and we are going all in on Lamar Miller. Next up, we have kind of the opposite type of player in Matt Bain, who is 286 pounds at 6'2", very strong, and also developing his skills as a run defender. But he's pretty much a pure run defender, not going to do much in terms of pass rush. Next up, we have John Carlton, a very undersized outside linebacker, but the thing about him is he is very athletic, great acceleration, moves to the football, and he can do pretty much everything. He is great in pursuit and great in coverage, and he can also rush the passer on third downs if we need him to. So a really good player here in John Carlton. Gonna go all into him, as I hope to get 3 linebackers in this class, and I'd like to start with him. Next up is C-Jeff, Curtis Jefferson, 6'1", 217, another undersized coverage guy, number 63 ranked outside linebacker. Fell even more under the radar. He's a little less athletic, I'd say, than Carlton, but a better technical player. He's better in coverage, has better block shed, and his hit power is a lot higher too, so that's gonna be awesome if we can get him and line these guys up. They're very, very similar in terms of frame, but I think that they could both really, really contribute to this defense going forward. And if we get these guys, this is like the core to a national championship winning defense, which is really exciting. Hopefully we can get these guys. Next up is Marcus Harrison, a smaller 3-star linebacker. I really like these smaller guys for some reason. 6', 228, has a little bit more meat on him, from Niceville, Florida. Very nice name. He's a little stronger, less athletic than the two of those guys, but he can just sit in the middle. Not great hit power, and really not great in coverage, so he's kind of security blanket if we don't get these guys, and I'm really looking for another linebacker actively. Hopefully I can find one, but Marcus Harrison, not a bad player by any means, just not as good as those guys up there. Darren Mitchell, another guy, just one of those security blankets, a little bigger than the rest of them, and I'd say he's actually a better player than Marcus Harrison at this point, so I'm going to probably put points into him instead of him, honestly. He's a lot better, same strength, their hit powers both suck, and he's not as good of a tackler, but he's way better in coverage, which I actually really value. Next up, we have 2 great corners that flew under the radar, and Joshua Malone and Jimmy Turner, 49 and 59 ranked in the country respectively, and they're both 6'2" and 3-star players. Joshua Malone, pretty athletic for that 6'2", and he's also a pretty decent tackler, and his coverages aren't anything to scoff at either. Probably more of a 4-star talent than a 3-star talent, as he is a gem, +7. That is awesome. Less agile, though. We'll have to play him on the outside for sure. And here is Jimmy Turner, who is more athletic but less agile. He's better in zone coverage too, but less good in press, as you can see. And he's also not as good as a tackler, but he's still a good player nonetheless. And these are guys that should start on the outside sooner than later. Next up, we have Brian Hill from Hawaii, 5'10", 187 pounds, and he is your true free safety. Very rangy, decent tackler, and his coverage skills are going to improve over time, but for now we'll just slide him in there, let him hit some people, and sit back there and use his range to his advantage. Really, really good player. However, I don't like him as much as I like Johnny Presley, who's a 70 overall. He is 6'1", 238, a lot bigger, way bigger frame, and this guy's going to play strong safety, and he is probably my favorite player on the recruiting board, even though he's just a 70 overall. Look at that 86 speed, 94 acceleration, 72 strength, a good jumper, hits people like crazy, and he has 85 zone coverage with that 77 play rec and the 85 pursuit. He also has the ball skills needed to go up and contest plays right over the middle, and he has the moves to take back runs to the house. He could also probably play running back for us, but he is definitely a safety, and my dream safety, if that, with great size and great athleticism. I am very excited for Johnny Presley, and I want to start putting points into him soon, but I feel like nobody's really going after him, which is pretty exciting. I don't think California is going to really offer him a scholarship, and if they do, I will be absolutely devastated because I like this man a lot. Next up is Craig Eden. I want to take 2 safeties in this class, being Harris and Presley, but if I don't get one of them, I will take Eden for sure. He can also play running back, as you can see, but I like him at defensive back in this situation because we already have a lot of good running backs on our board, and he's not fast enough to play running back. If I get Presley and him, I'd probably slide Presley over to free safety and slide Eden over to strong safety because he can also hit people a bit. He's a really good tackler, a lot better than Presley actually. And while his coverage isn't as good, you don't really need coverage as a strong safety as much as you do with a free safety. So Craig Eden, really good player, 6', 208 from Port Angeles, Washington, not too far from Alaska. Hopefully we can convince him to come here. And Nick Curry, a punter from Denison, Texas, 5'11", 223, number 17 ranked punter in the country. Going a little bit big here, but this guy has 89 kick power. Our punter is graduating, so we definitely need a replacement as soon as possible. So we're going to go after Nick Curry and hope for the best. Hopefully Texas A&M does not steal him from us. Last but not least, a guy I just added not too long ago. This is 6'7", 347-pound offensive tackle Jim Britton from Converse, Texas. He is the number 42 ranked tackle in the country, and you can bet I use the squat method for this one. 79 strength, 86 acceleration, 82 run block, 85 impact block. This is a guy, if we get him, he is going to start at right tackle for 4 years and be a 4-year starter. This guy is ridiculously good, and I am very, very happy that he was a low lock percentage guy that we have a chance to go after. One of my favorite players on the board besides Presley, him and Presley really competing for that number 1 spot. I love both of them a lot and think that they can be great additions to this team, like the rest of this board really is. Honestly, this is probably the best I've ever set up a recruiting board this early in the season before. Just by using the squat method, figuring out athletic traits, figuring out skills. I sat here for just like an hour and a half just figuring out who I wanted on my board. And once I scouted them, I got pretty rewarded with quite a few gems here, as you can see. Because I've been doing this a while, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think I have a general idea of what I'm doing here. Anyways, guys, that was the recruiting update. Leave your favorite recruit in the comments below. Tell me who you are really excited for us to get. I just cannot choose. I love everybody on this board, and I cannot wait for them to be a part of an eventual national championship team, hopefully. Anyways, that's going to do it, everybody. My name is Jack, and with that, I am signing out. Have a great day.